Hey gang, it's Uncle Todd here, and wow, what a season ender. Okay, the episode starts with Jen, of course, being locked up because she went crazy at the event. And they reach a settlement, and she can be released as long as she has an inhibitor on. And she's also having to leave her job because the whole reason of her even having the job was because She-Hulk. And now she can't be She-Hulk. And of course, she can't pay rent, so she... Oh, hi. Nice to see you too. She can't pay rent, so she moves back in with her parents, which is driving her crazy. And she's coming to a realization that one of those careful what you wish for, because all she's wanting is to not be She-Hulk, and now that she can't be She-Hulk, it doesn't feel right. Meanwhile, she's trying to find out all she can about intelligentsia to see if there's a court case that she can use to help her out of this. That's when her paralegal does some undercover work and gets invited to a intelligentsia meeting. But since it's a guy thing, she can't go, so she gets the other lawyer in the department to go instead. And it turns out the head of intelligentsia, the one who created it, was Todd, the douchey rich guy that kept hitting on her. Yes, well, if you take out the rich part and the douchey part, although there are people I remember in college who would probably say, no, the douchey part applies. I could have been the villain. Think about that. Anyway, after this revelation, Jennifer, who has headed back to Bronsky's retreat, goes to see Bronsky, who's giving some sort of special talk. Turns out the talk is in front of intelligentsia, and he's there as the Abomination. And he doesn't quite understand what they are there for. He's just there to give a motivation speech about how you can be your best you. And then Jennifer comes in, and she starts going, what is going on here? And that's when Todd pulls out the vial of her blood that he had, the guy from a few things ago, steal from her while she was asleep, and injects himself with it, and he becomes a Hulk. Even though, as we learned in the first episode, you have to have a very specific body type to actually absorb that much gamma radiation and not die. Anyway, at that point, Titina arrives and starts fighting with the villain Hulk. And then Bruce Banner as Hulk shows up and starts fighting the Abomination. And at this point, Jen has had enough. I mean, this thing has gone off the rails now. So, in the most John Byrne aspect of the entire show, she rips off the inhibitor, changes to She-Hulk, breaks out of her show into the streaming service, breaks into another show that has already completed its season so that she's in the backstage area, then leaves that to go in the back lot to go to the She-Hulk writer's room where she wants to know what the heck is going on. This is the most ridiculous thing she's ever been experienced in. And they explain, well, Kevin thought that this was the way to go. Well, then she's going to speak to Kevin. Well, nobody speaks to Kevin. Well, she's going to speak to Kevin. And for a minute, I thought, oh, Kevin Feige's going to be in. How meta. No. After beating up a bunch of guards and going through security things, she comes to this room where there's all these monitors showing all the Marvel stuff. And then this mechanical ball comes down. That's Kevin. It's an acronym for an AI. He's been using algorithms to plot out all the stories of the films and the shows. And he asks Jen to get back down to regular Jen, not She-Hulk, because they're kind of running low on the effects budget. In fact, they have to cut away while she changes because they don't have enough money to actually show the change. I love this. And so then, being a lawyer, she makes her case to change the way the show is and the way it's going. And she makes the criticism so many people online make about how the stakes are so over the top, and the over the top effects, and everything just keeps building and building on anything. It's just everything that was ever complained about the Marvel Universe, she voices. One of my favorite bits is when she's talking about the future, and it's like, well, when are we going to get the X-Men? Then she turns to the camera and goes. But Kevin agrees that, okay, she can take charge of her show. And so Todd does not change into a Hulk, because Todd is the villain, not the Serum. Bronski has to take charge of his actions. He has to take responsibility. Bruce does not show up, but Daredevil should. So she goes back. Todd is arrested, and she says, and she's ready to give him what he deserves, and he tenses up, and she changes back down to Jen and says, I'll see you in court. Emil signs a confession that yes, he did break parole guidelines, and he is willingly going back to jail for it. Daredevil shows up, but everything's been done. Oh, well. Guess he'll just have to have lunch with Jen and the family. Bruce shows up in Hulk form with his son. I'm assuming this is someone the Hulk had fathered while he was a gladiator back in Thor Ragnarok. Sure. That's as good a theory as any. And then she goes, and it ends with her going to court to plead her case. I mean, she's been exonerated because of all the evidence about intelligentsia that's been uncovered, and now she's going to seek civil damages against Todd. And then in the post-credits, Wong shows up and spirits Emil out of his cell and back to, I can never remember the name of that place. I had it on the tip of my tongue earlier and I can't remember it. But basically Shangri-La. And they make a joke about how he got roped into appearing in the season finale. Because apparently Jen isn't the only one that can break the fourth wall. What a great season ender, where they give you what you expect and then rip it away and change it into something more interesting. In that, why do you have to end it like that? And just making commentary on the whole aspect of a superhero show. Very good. Really enjoyed it. As always, Mark. I can't remember his name. The guy who played Cousin Larry on Perfect Strangers. Some great scenes where, especially him dealing with Matt Murdock, which is hilarious. Where he's like, talking about, well, what about kids? He's like, well, I didn't think we would be having this conversation. Oh, buckle up. We're having this conversation. Yeah, really, really good episode. Great series. I'm really hoping they get a second season. They deserve it. It's the best show Marvel's made. Well, that's about all I've got to say about that. Please hit like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.